Leaping around, playing, he suddenly freezes like a statue, attentively watching the world around him with his large, astonished gaze. What can be more charming, amusing and endearing than a kitten? Nature seems to have selected the most subtle colours from its wide palette to create this small gem, pure beauty in motion. Born with a naturally graceful posture, a gift for acrobatic choreography, extraordinarily supple, the kitten is a live wire, enjoying rare freedom of movement. Not a single step misplaced, even when curiosity leads him just a little too high. A simple somersault and the small cat sets himself back on his feet, instantly recovering his balance and serenity.
These adorable creatures need only to suckle, sleep, then frolic. One long playtime that we will have the privilege of sharing for many months. They have all it takes to win our hearts, especially as, if we are attentive to their daily progress, kittens will in turn quickly take an interest in us, the prelude to a lifelong attachment. Each moment spent in their company brings joy and surprise.
They change so fast. In just a few months, these little furry balls, so fragile and dependent, change into mischievous kittens, tirelessly chasing around and playing, curious about everything and as cuddly as can be. They soon become superb feline specimens, independent and mysterious. On condition that they're well guided in this vital stage of their existence. But let's go back to the beginning to gain a little more insight.
The history of the cat is tightly linked to that of mankind. Today, the domestication of the cat is thought to have taken place in different places around the world, from the Indus Valley to Persia, from the Far East to Egypt, where the first traces of the domestic cat can be found, dating back to around 4500 BC, when cats gradually became intimate with mankind.
In Egypt, at the time of the pharaohs, the cat was recognized as a companion as far back as 2,500 years before the Christian era. Appreciated for its hunting characteristics, it kept rodents at bay, protected crops, and watched over grain stores, fabrics, and the precious papyrus.
But the cat was also a pet, considered due to its fertility and grace to be the incarnation of Bastet, goddess of maternity and dance. As for the ancestors of European cats, they originate from the Mediterranean basin. They are the fruit of the crossing of several wild species from the Near East, the main one being Felis libica. It took a long time for the Christian West to accept the cat, a symbol of Egyptian and Roman pagan religions.
There were other seats of domestication throughout the world. The Angora and the Persian were located as early as the 16th century in Turkey and in Persia. The Siamese already existed in Thailand in the 18th century. The Maine Coon lived on the American continent. And the Norwegian forest cat was brought by the Vikings from the shores of the Caspian Sea. The Chartreux was already widespread in the Renaissance period and was very popular in France. As for the sacred Burman, despite a charming legend that tells of its birth in a Burmese temple, it no doubt stems from a cross between a Siamese and a long-haired cat such as a Persian.
At the end of the 19th century, the strong interest of enthusiasts for purebred cats was at the origin of the first selective breeding programs. As a direct consequence, there are currently over 60 breeds, short, medium or long-haired, or even with no hair at all.
Today, the cat has conquered a prime place within the family that now ensures its well-being thanks to the generalization of veterinarian care and a diet adapted to the requirements of its breed, age, lifestyle or physiological condition.
As many breeds of cats mean as many different requirements, not to forget the kitten, which is from the first months of its life, will stand out from others and demonstrate its very own personality. No two cats are alike. All cat lovers will tell you that. As a famous writer pointed out, there is no such thing as an ordinary cat.
The kitten is born in a litter that often counts between 3 and 6 young, depending on the age and the breed of the mother cat. Adult cat can give birth to completely white kittens. Final pigmentation appears progressively during growth. Just born, our newborn kitten looks extremely vulnerable. His eyes are still shut, and his ears perceive just a few sounds. All he can do is crawl, but he's good at that. In the few moments following birth, he finds his way to his mother's breast thanks to a sense of smell that guides him towards the source of warmth. Each kitten will very quickly adopt his own teat and will not change.
The small animal takes his first look at his surroundings after 8 or so days. For the first 3 weeks, he mainly suckles and sleeps. He spends 90% of his time snuggled up against his mother and the other kittens of the litter. This closeness provides him with the necessary heat for survival and well-being. He mews when separated from mother and siblings.
By licking them, the mother cat comforts her young and helps them to excrete. Autonomy comes at a later date, along with learning to be clean. As soon as the kitten can stand on his 4 paws at around 3 weeks, he can begin to explore the outside world. It's a show well worth watching. The kitten sets out to discover his new environment, becomes brave enough to leave the safety of his nest, causing some worry to the mother cat. When she thinks her kittens are getting too far away, she grabs them by the scruff of their neck and brings them back next to her.
But soon enough, the kitten gains freedom, and with no small amount of energy. Still clumsy, bold, impetuous and pert, leaping, climbing, running all over the place, he discovers the joys of playing and fighting with the other kittens of the litter, the first premises of hunting. These acrobatics are followed by long periods of sleep, often disturbed by dreams about every 25 minutes. It is when studying the cat that the paradoxical sleep was discovered. At this stage, all the muscles are completely relaxed, but very rapid eye movements occur as if the cat were awake.
At around 1 month of age, the kitten, now able to lap and equipped with milk teeth, is ready for weaning. This consists in progressively replacing his mother's milk with solid food. As the months go by, you'll choose foods that best fit his nutritional requirements. If you've taken a kitten before he's weaned, he'll have to be fed with a bottle and special formula milk for kittens.
The kitten has a very low ability to digest starch before weaning, and at this stage in his growth must be given milk proteins only. Cow milk must be avoided during this crucial phase of its development. Cow milk is indeed not at all suited to the kitten, being too poor in proteins and far too sweet as compared to the mother's milk.
At birth, the kitten's immune system is ensured by the mother's antibodies contained in colostrum. This liquid is secreted before milk by the cat's mammary glands during the first 24 hours after giving birth.
As the weeks go by, this protection will gradually dwindle, disappearing at around the age of 2 months before his own immune system can take the relay. The kitten therefore goes through a period called the immunity gap, in which he is prone to infection. Now's the time to ensure he's protected by vaccinations given according to the schedule established by the veterinarian.
Watching a kitten grow is an experience that one can never tire of. All the more so as his growth is spectacular. After 8 months, his birth weight has already been multiplied 5 to 7-fold, depending on the individual. Within the space of a year, the kitten will have gone from 100 grams on average to around 3.5 kilos at adult age.
The kitten's body changes constantly. He looks different every day. He who was crawling at birth has been walking on all fours since his 17th day. Milk teeth give way to adult teeth, and eyes take on their permanent colour at around 30 days. Sight and other senses develop, limbs get longer, and the brain reaches its normal weight at 3 months. It's easy to understand why our kitten needs a diet that will help his organism to cope with such great efforts in such a short lapse of time and to build a strong bone structure supported by capable muscles.
The kitten develops and maintains these beautiful mechanics by playing. Chasing and confronting the other kittens of the litter, somersaults, leaps, feints and parries, this is how the entire repertoire of movements slots into place. Soon, the kitten is able to grasp small objects and plays tirelessly with us or alone. Offering him a wide variety of games will provide him with even greater stimulation. By encountering different situations and different people, he'll learn and will become sociable.
Increasing contact with the kitten is necessary for harmonious socialization. All that he goes through and learns over the following weeks will remain etched in his memory and will be perceived as a pleasant experience. When the kitten leaves his mother, he's already used to being stroked by human hands. He has become sociable.
A kitten must only be adopted at around the age of 3 months. Once he's been weaned, has acquired a certain amount of autonomy and is protected by vaccinations. Your adopted kitten must be identified with a tattoo or with a tiny electronic chip implanted just beneath the skin.
Placing this chip is entirely painless for the kitten. If the kitten has been given to you by a neighbour, it's still important not to forget identification, as this will be the only recourse if the kitten is lost. Purchase must take place in due respect of local legislation. The seller must supply the required documents. The kitten must be in good health, free of diseases considered to be hereditary defects that can lead to the annulment of the sale.
Adopting a kitten must not be an irrational gesture or an impulse. You're taking in a living creature with which you'll be sharing long and extraordinary years. Embarking upon an exceptional relationship with a cat deserves a certain amount of consideration. It is as much a responsibility as a pleasure. Stroking and cuddles alone are not sufficient.
In addition to the affection with which he will inevitably be surrounded, you will have to provide all of the care he needs to remain healthy. Visits to the vet, looking after his fur, an appropriate diet, all of those important things that will make you an attentive owner.
Which kitten should you choose? That depends on a number of criteria, your affinities with a particular breed and your sense of beauty, of course. The well-known Albert Schweitzer said that there are 2 ways of forgetting life's problems, music and cats. That's no doubt true, but the choice remains jazz or samba, a large, placid and mysterious cat or a small, mischievous and boisterous one, purebred cat or common cat. It's important to note that the behaviour of a purebred cat will be far more predictable.
In kittens, physical particularities such as the beauty of the coat only become clearly apparent after a few months. His character, however, is already well defined. The Persian thus displays a certain amount of calm, whereas Siamese and Oriental cats are extremely vocal and mischievous, following their owner everywhere. The European is relentlessly playful and adapts to all lifestyles. The sacred Burman is generally up to mischief. The Norwegian likes communicating with humans more than the Maine Coon, and the Burmese, beneath his sporty appearance, is extremely affectionate. The Abyssinian is somewhat shy, which is not true of its close relative, the Somali, that appreciates the company of other cats and dogs. The Chartreux and the British Shorthair, however, display the same debonair composure that their owners enjoy so much.
Male or female, that's a question of taste, as both genders have the same types of behaviour. A tomcat can be cuddlier than a she-cat, a female more playful than a male. Nothing is definite.
Observe the litter closely when you're making your choice. Some of the young can be fearful and refuse contact, or, to the contrary, can be a little too bold. Choose a kitten whose alert and peaceful attitude already shows a certain balance. This will become more marked with age.
But perhaps your meeting will be the fruit of chance, and love at first sight is often the only element of choice, the guarantee for a good quality future relationship. Before deciding upon a breed, think about the type of lifestyle that you'll be offering your kitten. Do you live in the town or in the countryside? Will this cat like to lounge around in an apartment or explore a garden on a quest for adventure?
Normally speaking, a Persian is no more fitted to frolicking in mud than a Maine Coon is to meditating on a cushion. Don't choose a cat known for its exclusive nature if there are several children in your family. Go for a cat whose playful, peaceful, boisterous or cuddly character will suit your own. Opt for a cat that will get on with dogs if you have one. If you already own a cat, it's better to choose a kitten of the opposite gender.
Get in touch with a purebred association or club to find the best breeders. Good breeders like to talk about their kittens and want to get to know the future owners. Don't hesitate to ask them all of the questions that come to mind concerning the breed, its particularities and needs. You can thus tranquilly make your choice. If you purchase your kitten in a pet shop, take the time to talk with a pet shop assistant to find out more about the kitten's background and where they come from.
Once you've taken care to do this, it's good to know that the cat is an animal that adapts extremely well, especially when it's just a kitten. A small two-room apartment or a large house, single or with a large family, whichever kitten you decide upon, its well-being will depend upon the care you give it.
Once you've found your dream kitten, you'll be in possession of all of its documents, sales certificate, registration card, and maybe a kennel club registration. All you need to do now is find a name for it, if you haven't already done so.
The year determines the first letter of the first name. C in 2007, D in 2008 and so on. It's up to you and the whole family can join in. You might decide upon a fancy name, but a cat responds better to a short name with ringing consonants. But that doesn't stop you from giving it an official name and calling it by its nickname.
Proper preparation must be made for that important moment when you bring the kitten to its new home. Place a comfortable basket in the place where you want it to sleep. Set up the litter box in a discreet corner, apart yet easy to reach. If the kitten has been properly educated by its mother, it'll be easy to teach it to be clean. A bowl of fresh water must be available at all times, placed in a specific spot, along with a supply of kibble adapted to its age, not too close to the water so that the kibble doesn't get splashed. A kitten needs numerous small meals and feeds both day and night.
For the first week, it's better to give him the same food as that given by the breeder. You can move him on to another food once he's got over the stress of being in his new environment. Precise and adapted nutrition during the kitten's growth is vital in preventing risks of disease or malformation and in ensuring that he develops well. The drop in maternal antibodies and the as yet insufficient antibodies manufactured by the kitten must be taken into account by providing extra antioxidants to help the immune system to get on track. The small volume of his stomach, his digestive abilities that are still incomplete, as well as his fragile teeth, require high-quality nutrition that is extremely digestible and a texture of kibble that is perfectly adapted to his teeth.
The newcomer is in unknown territory. Let him take stock of his surroundings at his own pace. He needs to set off to explore and to imprint his smell in order to feel safe and at home. Show him his bed. Provide him with small toys that are appropriate for his young age. Fun and games will quickly get him learning about his new surroundings and calm the disturbance caused by the change in life. You'll be surprised to see how fast the kitten feels at home, and even a little more. A famous poet stated, "Little by little, cats become the soul of the house."
A kitten is not a puppy. The puppy is a pack animal. The kitten is less receptive to social hierarchy, and he is therefore educated in a different way. A few simple rules will extend the education received from his mother and ensure that he successfully settles down as a member of the family. With a little patience and a certain amount of stubbornness, it's quite possible to make the cat understand what he is and isn't allowed to do. The exclusive use of his litter box for his needs, the scratching post for scratching, the kitten will get used to it fast.
A strongly felt no will discourage him if he jumps on the dining room table or the kitchen surfaces or tries to attack the potted plants.
Do not encourage demonstrations of aggressiveness, even if they appear harmless. Don't let your kitten nip your hands and pretend to attack you. What makes you smile in a kitten could become unpleasant at adult age.
When your kitten obeys an order, treat him to a stroke and a compliment or a few pieces of kibble.
If he's been naughty, there's no point in telling him off if you haven't caught him on the spot. He won't understand what it's all about.
Teach the children, especially if they're young, to be gentle with the kitten and not to get him unnecessarily worked up. He's not a toy. However, his presence can be of great benefit to a child who will be given responsibility and for whom the animal is both a companion and a confidant. This privileged relationship can only have a positive impact on the psychological and affective development of children.
Help your kitten to find out about what your daily life involves and that he will learn to consider as normal. This ranges from his basket to car travel, the noise of the vacuum cleaner or the barking of the neighbour's dog, from the sound of the television to a visit to the vets.
If there are other cats or dogs in your home, don't be in a rush to introduce them. It sometimes takes a little time to learn to get on. Above all, make sure that all the cats of the house have free access to food and that each one has its own bowl.
Last point, do not forget the kitten's proverbial curiosity. Although it allows him to adapt to many different situations, it can nevertheless place him at peril with regard to different household dangers. Be careful of the swimming pool and the bath, of sources of heat and poisonous liquids.
When the kitten arrives in your home, he's worried. He has no olfactory markers in his new environment. By marking it out with his body odours, imperceptible to the human nose, he's making his domain into a territory that he has personally staked out and that he thus finds reassuring. This territory, carefully prepared by the kitchen, enables him to define his different areas of activity, the place where he eats, sees to his needs, plays, rests or sleeps. He'll then feel really at home.
This staking out can take a little time, especially when the kitten is very young. You'll see him rubbing his cheeks against certain wall corners and against furniture that's in a strategic position. The kitten perceives his universe in 3 dimensions, which explains his frantic desire to climb as high as possible in order to reach observation points from which he may measure his domain and feel safe. He also likes to hide, explore and keep watch without being seen. He will not like an apartment that is too bare for this very reason.
You will rapidly notice that the kitten partakes in certain activities in a specific place and at a specific time of the day or night. Respect the areas that your kitten has set his heart on. This is the best way to prevent the development of behavioural disorders. If he feels the need to scratch the foot of a piece of furniture or some fabric, however, place a vertical scratch pole in the given place. He'll have to make do with that.
If you have a garden, there's no point in keeping your cat inside for too long. Keep a close watch on him during the first outings. The noise of a car or the appearance of another animal could frighten him and make him run away, because he is, once again, just like when he arrived in the house, in a place where there are no comforting personal smells. Not to mention the trees that he climbs up and can't get down from. Step by step, the kitten will stake out his territory thanks to urine deposits, body odours and by scratching the bottom of the tree trunks.
The kitten must be protected against a certain number of infectious diseases for which highly effective vaccines are available. This goes even for animals that never leave the apartment. The vet will give a booster once a year throughout the cat's life.
The kitten's organism is very sensitive to intestinal parasites. It's important to treat him with a polyvalent vermifuge adapted to the cat's lifestyle, following your vet's advice.
Whether he goes outside or not, the kitten can catch fleas. It's easy to protect him by monthly applying a dose of liquid product behind the neck. If you have the slightest concern about your kitten's health, never forget that the best person to talk to is your vet. Don't hesitate to assess the situation with him during the first few months of your kitten's life.
Not all kittens reach sexual maturity at the same moment. Precocity depends on the gender, breed and season of birth. The average age of puberty is around 8 months for a female, but it's possible for a house cat to be impregnated from the age of 4 months, which is obviously to be proscribed. A male reaches puberty at around 10 months, but certain cats can mate as early as 6 to 7 months of age.
A very mild climate or life in a well-heated apartment can have an influence on precocity, as can breed. Siamese, Orientals and Burmese are amongst the first to reach puberty, whereas Persians, Chartres and Maine Coon take their time. When male or female cats are not intended to reproduce, it's better to have them surgically sterilized. Traditionally, the vet performs this operation at puberty, towards the age of 7 months. But in certain countries, the kitten is sterilized as early as 8 weeks.
Contrary to a widespread notion, early sterilization disrupts neither growth nor behavior. Generally speaking, a sterilized cat is prone to putting on weight. To maintain the ideal weight of your cat, it is important to pay particular care following the operation. If he puts on weight, ration his food. It's also good to know that there are now foods available that have been specially designed to take into account this risk in sterilized cats.
All those who've already welcomed a kitten into their homes will say it. There's no experience like those several fascinating months during which the kitten blossoms into an adult cat. You'll realize this yourself. Bringing a kitten into your daily life is the guarantee of many long months of pure joy, lived in pace with a small creature that's curious about everything, a true master of good mood and exuberance. Each moment of this marvelous adventure is to be savored. Such elegance, harmony and malice in his sapphire golden or agate eyes. As Leonardo da Vinci wrote, even the smallest of cats is a masterpiece.
He grows up so fast. Each moment that you share with him is important to make your companion into a radiant cat, giving him his rightful place within your home. The kitten will bring a touch of grace and serenity into your life. Take time to help him learn about the world around him, the people and other animals that will live with him. Provide him with the attention that he demands. Play with him, cuddle him, respect his rest and quiet times. Offer him the diet he needs for harmonious development. Watch over his health and you'll always have a lively, affectionate, faithful companion beneath his independent bearing who will consistently be a source of joy for many years.
This exceptional feline has always been a source of inspiration to its admirers throughout the world. Its magnificent posture, natural beauty, chosen independence, and its mysterious side are characteristics that poets often associate with the cat, and which thus unveil their common sensitivity, their fascinated vision of this exceptional animal. Make the most of those daily magical moments when the kitten is learning and building his new territory at your side, both with tender nearness and respectful distance. Contemplate him, admire him, savor those moments of pure joy with him, as they will fill your mind with dreams and will bring enchantment to your life for many years.